let's bring in distinguished professor at Touro College. He's a brilliant legal scholar, Thane Rosenbaum. Thane, what do you make of the criminal charges? I remember when you were here and we were talking about it, we thought at most obstruction of justice, but the Espionage Act?
So, Lydia, I think there's 37 or 39 counts. 32 of them, think about this, 32 of the total number are related to the Espionage Act and to the retention and removal of the documents. If this case was really about the Espionage Act and the retention removal, it would have been brought in Washington, D.C., where it belongs. Instead, they brought it in Florida. And the reason I thought it was about obstruction is because that's where the obstruction, if there is obstruction, that's where it took place. It did not take place in the White House. It took place at Mar-a-Lago. So they're not telling you a number of things, which is, it sounds so front-loaded with 37, 39 counts, but the vast, vast, vast majority of them have to do with the Espionage Act. If they had just brought the obstruction charges, a lot of people, myself included, would feel very differently. I still think the president has many defenses, but I always thought he was vulnerable in one area on obstruction, and the evidence that they seems to have gathered in the indictment speaks to that. But going back to the Presidential Records Act, do you want to ask, or should I just...
No, perfect. I was just going to ask you, do you think this would fall under the Presidential Records Act?
This has been something I've been talking on Newsmax for 6 months, 8 months, every show, your show. No one, you will not hear that word said on CNN. No one wants to talk about the simplest thing. You know what that is? When Jack Smith on Friday said there's one set of laws that apply to everyone, right? He's wrong. There's actually one set of laws that only apply to Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump. And it's called the Presidential Records Act. It only protects those 4 people. So no one wants to talk about, everyone saying no one is above the law. Yes, he is. The president of the United States, and first of all, there's a large constitutional argument about the presidential powers and what they mean, which the Supreme Court, believe me, would weigh in on. It is not true that everyone is the same. There are unique powers that the president possesses under the Constitution. But more importantly, there is a statute that covers presidents upon their departure and what they can take and what they can't, and the negotiation that takes place. It's supposed to be a friendly negotiation, right? The president and the National Archives negotiate. They discuss, what do you want? Why do you want it? Can we do something else about that? It is true that when they finally made the demand that Donald Trump should have given it to them, but that is a very big difference. To me, the Presidential Records Act, Lydia, totally obliterates the Espionage Act. And so the fact that they're bringing espionage charges suggests that this is politically motivated. It suggests that this is targeting of a candidate for the presidency by the administration that seeks to benefit by his loss. Remember, Merrick Garland gets to stay in his office if Biden wins. Right. So the conflict of interest is great. So to claim that Joe Biden has had no contact, he may not have, but everyone in the executive branch benefits if Donald Trump loses.
Absolutely. And what better way to take out your opponent than by calling him a spy, right? Thank you so much, Thane Rosenbaum and John Burnett. We'll be talking to you again real soon. All right. We want to hear from you all.